Chapter 8 Sharpie Stains.
I said, oh, Lordy, Lordy, look who come to party. We got everybody here tonight. All my fellas and my ladies, it's gonna get a little crazy on that whiskey, wine, beer, and shine. Lordy, Lordy.
I've had some jobs that gave me calluses and blisters. These days, after hours of meeting and greeting and signing autographs, it's not uncommon for me to be covered in Sharpie stains. But it's okay. It's a happy reminder of a job well done and a lot of love from my kinfolk. I never knew when we named my fan base that it would turn into what it has today. Demon Jones.
SMO is a really down-to-earth individual. He's a genuine person, and I feel like that has spoken louder than anything throughout his career. His generosity and his gratitude towards his fans was obvious years ago when I first started touring with him. After each of his shows, he would walk out there and stand and shake every person's hand that came to the show. Fans never forget that. I certainly didn't.
JJ.
That's been his thing since the beginning, and still is. We're all just a bunch of regular, redneck, working-class dudes from the country. And to us, these people come out and spend the money they worked hard for. That means a lot. He would stand and shake hands and sign autographs and take photos with literally every person in line. I think that's been and will remain a huge part of his success.
Bird Brooks.
I think SMO is very in touch with his fans, and it's important to be able to do that. I think that's why he's been successful.
More and more people were listening to my music, and I was starting to get more shows. By that time, I had agreed to let Dan be my manager, and we were working nonstop. Grassroots was really popular, and I was in shock that Kicking It in Tennessee was still racking up millions of views on YouTube. Things were starting to gain momentum, and we caught the attention of Frank Wing, one of the top guns at the Agency of Performing Arts. He was hip to what we were doing in the Mudbog scene, and he liked my work. Not too long after that, I became one of the first country rap acts signed to a major booking agency. Frank Wing.
You have to understand, SMO was an artist who was doing his thing off the beaten path. He didn't care about labels, and as a matter of fact, at first, he was kind of incredulous with me, like, what? You think I can sign with a major label? Still, I saw that as a totally untapped market at that time. I didn't even know that genre existed. As soon as I drove out to his farm and met him, I knew immediately he was someone I wanted to work with. As I started doing more research, I confirmed that indeed this culture did exist, and it was not in the mainstream, but was real and growing.
Even though I knew how to have a good time and do my job without making a scene, a lot of promoters and club owners were hesitant at first because it was a rap show. But I always made sure to watch myself because the community around the shows back then was very tight-knit. I didn't know who knew what people, and I wanted to be invited back. I tried my best to establish a rapport with everyone. Frank Wing.
To SMO's credit, he worked his butt off. Man, in the early days, I saw him play some of the smallest roadhouses and nightclubs you can imagine. It was crazy, and for 2 years, I booked him before he signed with Warner Brothers.
I performed for a crowd of 60 like a crowd of 6,000. It turns out that the club owners where I performed let their buddies in the business know what kind of show I put on. Frank Wing.
Sure enough, more and more people started showing up. What really surprised me when I went to visit some of these shows, whether in Ohio, Louisiana, wherever, people would show up. I started booking SMO in those kinds of markets right from the beginning. I saw the appeal across all ages. Kids would just show up at his shows. They really look up to SMO. I mean, this guy is so accommodating with his fans, you wouldn't believe it. It's near and dear to his heart, the stuff he does for his little kinfolk. In my years working with him, he's never failed to fulfill a request from a fan. One particular favorite of mine from back in August in 2015 was one that came in from a child that was terminal with leukemia, and I had SMO give a personalized shout out on video. Kids love SMO, and he's always been a family-friendly brand, and children just gravitate toward him. I've never really seen that before.
I've gotten lots of really cool gifts from my fans over the years. If you ever watched the TV show or been at my farm, there are gnomes that were a gift from a fan strategically placed throughout the property. I get a lot of shirts, beard products, fishing gear, hunting stuff, even hot sauce. I also have a huge collection of fan art I've been given over the years. Once I was looking for a special kind of hat that I wore at a mud bog in Texas and couldn't find one anywhere. I sent a picture of it to my dear fan Darcy Johnson, and she crocheted a replica for me. It's that kind of love and loyalty that has always bonded me and my kinfolk. It sounds cliche to refer to my fans as family, but some of these people have been around for over 20 years. Kimmy and David bagged up individual CDs with Hey, the Country Boy box set, and helped me in so many ways over the years. I'm thankful for their relationship and loyalty. I also want to give a shout out to my Texas kinfolk because they are as loyal gets. They have been fans for a long time, and I appreciate all the years of love. I also have been forever impacted by the fan experiences that have moved me. Sadly, disease, illness, and loss are the realities we must face, and I have met some very courageous survivors in my life. I've also been called in to be with some people during their final day. On more than one occasion, my anticipated visit had come too late. One fan in particular I planned to meet as soon as I got home from being on the road, but she didn't make it through the night. It is powerful what music does to us as humans, and for some of my fans, it's got them through chemo and even helped them through their last days. I cannot help but be moved to tears by some of their stories. I was even inspired to write the message based on a Facebook conversation with a young fan who had cancer. I'm thankful so many people have shared their heartaches and burdens because, let's face it, a hurt that's shared is way more bearable. From drug addiction recovery to suicide attempts, I've received the gamut of stories of fan struggles, and I just want everyone to know I understand. You gotta just keep your head up. You gotta keep your head up. Another group of kinfolk I hold near and dear to my heart are my servicemen and women and our veterans. I always try to do whatever I can to help them because they are the bravest group of people in our society. They are willing to serve for each and every one of us every day while sacrificing time away from the ones they love. I'm thankful that Matt Doak, a friend of mine from my hometown, got to be on the EP artwork for Bringing It Home. He's in a family full of civil servants, and they give back to our community so much. He is the epitome of hero for our town, and I wanted that to be captured as the visual for the music. It turned out amazing, and I'm thankful he was willing to be a part of that. To my military, police, fire, rescue, emergency medical service kinfolk, thank you. I've been lucky enough to get to know many of you, and I'm thankful for all you do. Shout out to my Murfreesboro Fire and Police Department. I was contacted by my cousin Benji and his friend Ashley at MFD about a music project. She asked if I would be willing to allow them to use Workin' for a lip sync video, and if all possible, could I make an appearance? Hanging out rapping and cutting up with the whole fire and police departments in Murfreesboro was one of the coolest experiences in my career. I was so honored when they asked me to use the song because it reminded me of the whole reason why we wrote it in the first place. This opportunity exceeded any expectation I could have imagined back then. Even more humbling, they awarded me with the honorary fireman plaque at the annual award ceremony. I was even invited to do a cooking show that the fire department puts on the Murfreesboro channel. It's my own healthy version of my mom's famous Quick Chick. So thank you to everyone involved with that project and all that came from it. I've met a lot of kinfolk through the years. A while back, I met a couple that had told me about their child with autism. He struggled with communication, but with my music, he began to experience major breakthroughs. I was stunned and said I would love the chance to meet him. We agreed to meet at the Visitor Center in West Virginia, where they give away free peanuts. He was a great kid, and I gave him a Davy Crockett-style coonskin hat. His dad gave me a super dope fishing hat with a Navy patch on it in honor of my dad. When I went inside the Visitor Center, a nice older lady at the register told me that she recognized me from my t-shirt that was made for me by a fan. We talked for a while, and I ended up adding her to the guest list. She and her husband came to the show that night. It's crazy that none of these kinfolk knew each other or even know that this happened, but for me it's always so awesome to see how this family all weaves together. Halloween is my favorite holiday, even though I was born on Valentine's Day. I love when I see pictures of my little kinfolk dressed up as me for Halloween. They are so cute and put in so much attention to detail, all the way down to the baldness and beard. It's flattering, and I enjoy all the videos, pictures, and stories from my little fans. Social media has been a great way for me to meet new kinfolk. Speaking of socials, special thanks to Miss Pam Cook that checks all my messages on my socials. I could never maintain or manage all the communication without her help. One particular fan turned family that I met via social media is Matt Julian. He's a Marine veteran with an incredible talent in welding metals. He offered to make me a fire pit for the Cumberland Caverns benefit, and I was like, yeah, that'd be awesome. He's since made my mom a metal flower planter for her yard, several pieces for my house, my mic stand, and even a whole army's worth of weaponry for the Country Outlaw music video. He's a great dude, and I'm thankful for everything he has done. Matt Julian.
It all started with the Big SMO fire pit. I remember whenever he threw me the idea, hey, can you make me a mic stand out of chains? And I did, and it looked really cool. Another of my favorites are the weapons I made for SMO's Country Outlaw video. I remember once I started sending him some pictures for some prototypes, he started sending me requests for his own designs, and the producers of the video were sending in requests, so it became really collaborative. SMO wanted a double-headed fish fork with deer antlers, baseball bats with deer antlers and saw blades. I mean, there's chains welded together, lawnmower blades welded together, circular saw blades. I even made a sword from a giant 2-man buck saw, and I had to raid 3 of my neighbors' junk piles to make it all. SMO just likes to challenge me, where he'll send me a sketch of something and say, hey, make this.
One guy I must definitely mention is my boy Danny Igo, a.k.a. Country. We met when I did a show in Florida a while back. It was like we had known each other for years, and this guy is hilarious. If you ever get to know Country, your gut will hurt, and you'll get a fat boy cramp from laughing at him. I've had so many good times with him over the years, and he's a brother to me. Country.
SMO was doing a show here in Florida at the Roundup. Me and my buddy were out one night, and he told me SMO was playing in town, so we rode over to check it out. At the end of the night, he was doing his meet and greet, and there was a long line of people. So I just walked past everybody, went right up to him and said, Big SMO, I'm Country. And then he surprised me as I was walking away from the table, and he said, hey, Country, let's go hang out on the bus. I had a mason jar full of moonshine with me at the time, and we just sat there the whole time talking while we were chilling, and I think we hit it off. That was the beginning of a relationship with a new best friend.
Country ended up winning the Ultimate Kinfolk Experience on the SMO mobile app. He came and stayed at my house for the weekend. It snowed, and we went hunting with my best friend Steve, another fan turned fam. It's cool that now Matt, Country, and Steve are all friends. Country.
It was dope when I got to be part of the Kinfolk Experience. He flew me to Nashville, picked me up himself from the airport, and we went to the Sony Writer's house, and he gave me a little tour and told me about the songwriters who come there to write and record. Then we went over to Warner Nashville and kind of did the tour, went around and met a few people, and of course, his pictures and videos were playing as we were walking through there, and a bunch of other Warner Nashville artists. Then we went back to the farm, and he gave me a little tour of the Country Kitchen studio out back, his grandfather's store, and he showed me where it all started. We watched some movies, then we went to Walmart to get some stuff for a hunting trip. He wanted hunting to be part of the Ultimate Kinfolk Experience. We went out in the woods one morning with his buddy Steve and froze our balls off in 5-degree weather. We got up the next day and he made deer omelets for breakfast. While I was there, he had me help him finish up a piece from his jewelry line, Drape Jewelry. From there, we went to Nashville to Alan Jackson's bar and got a couple drinks and then went down and had some sushi. I stayed right there on his farm and the whole weekend was an awesome experience.
Speaking on hunting with Steve and Country, we have definitely had some good times together. For us, hunting is a way to get away from everything and have some peace and quiet. For me, it's good thinking time and a chance to clear my head. I eat what I kill and donate what I can't eat. Steve took me deer hunting for the first time, and it was so awesome to get to experience that with my best friend. I'll never forget, he said, leave the guts. Coyotes got to eat too. He's always wise like that. When Country, Steve, and I go hunting, there's no telling what's going to happen. I will say it's a wonder we ever get any hunting done because we're always laughing so hard when we get together. Country took Steve and me gator hunting, and Steve killed the hog in the video for my new song, Bone Splitter. Steve is also way more experienced in hunting than I am. but he loves to share and teach me things. We have a great time when we go hunting together, whether it's for deer or wild hog. We went to Colorado together, and I'm looking forward to our trip to Mexico on the Kinfolk Cruise. These guys were all fans turned into brothers, and I don't know what I'd do without them. Needless to say, I have the best fans any artist could ask for. Some of these fans I've had since the very beginning, and I'm thankful we have had these experiences together.